Let us now look at this section of sensing. So what sensing, what are the codes that are offered inside the sensing section and how these are used in Scratch? Let's have a look at it. In order to do that, first what I would like to do is I'll leave the cat here, and I'm going to put set of codes for the cat. So I'll say when the green flag is pressed, and I will put a repeat 100 times, and I will make this cat move one step at a time. And let us check this. So when I press that, the cat keeps moving slowly for 100 steps. Let's make it actually 500 steps. Actually 300 steps. So I'll leave the cat here, and when I press the green key, it keeps traveling towards the right for 300 steps. So once it travels 300 steps, it stops. I'm going to leave the cat alone here. Now we're going to go and look at the sensors. Say, for example, I will make a random sprite here. So that's my sprite 2. As I said earlier, this tool here is used to shrink the sprite. I'm going to shrink this sprite, make it smaller, and I made it that small. So I will leave it here, and what I would do here is I will have this when clicked, like for the sprite 1, I will have it for sprite 2. Okay, here I'm going to have a forever loop, which means this is going to check for something forever. Okay, what is it going to check for? It's going to check if, and let's go back to the sensing, if touching what? There are three things: if touching the mouse pointer, if touching the edge, or if touching the sprite 1. I'll use sprite 1 for now. So if touching sprite 1, I would say, I will make it say, go into the looks and say touching sprite 1 for 2 seconds. It will say touching sprite 1 for 2 seconds. So for the cat, I put when I press the enter key, the cat starts moving to the right 1 step. For the sprite 2, I put codes that when I press the enter, it's continuously looking if there's any other sprite going to touch, and if this cat is going to touch it, it's going to say, hey, look, sprite 1 is touching me. So, but once the cat goes past this frog here and not touching it, obviously it is not going to say anything. So let us see how this is going to work. I'm going to press the enter now. Cat started traveling, and then say touching sprite 1, stays there for 2 seconds, and the message disappears. Alright, so that is pretty much sensing. The first one, that is pretty much touching. Now we can also make a color, for which what I'm doing here is I'm going to draw a little sprite. It's black color. Let's go pour the red color into it. I poured the red color. So now I put this sprite here. Then again, see, the best way of, if you're going to put the same sort of code inside sprite 2, you don't have to altogether go and get all of those sprites, get all of those code blocks. Instead, what you could do is you simply drag the set of codes from sprite 2 and leave it into sprite 3. Now when you go to sprite 3 now, what happens is, if touching sprite 1, say touching sprite 1, instead we will make a different message here. I would say sprite 1 is touching the red dot. That's what this is going to say. So the red dot is going to say, hey, you're touching me. And the frog is going to say, hey, sprite 1 is touching me. So let's go. I'll press the enter key and then it says touching sprite 1. Then again, sprite 1 is touching the red dot and disappears in 2 seconds. We can also actually make this only 1 second. We'll make this one 1 second and press enter and see what's going to happen. I'll leave the cat all the way here. Press key. It says touching sprite 1 and sprite 1 touching the red dot. Now let's go back to our sensing again. If you're looking, if touching, okay. Now for a cat, we haven't used this touching red color. Okay, for the cat, what we would say here is control and press enter forever. We'll use the if condition inside and I'll say if touching color. What color would that be? Red color. If touching red color, I would say the cat should. I'll make the cat move downward. I will say go to motion, change y by negative 25. Change y by negative 25. I'm going to say press enter now. It goes, touches the green, touches the sprite 2, nothing happens. But as soon as it touched sprite 3, it just moved down. Right? So cat's moving, it goes and touches the sprite 2, and then sprite 2 says touching sprite 1. And when it touches sprite 3, sprite 3 says sprite 1 is touching the red dot. But what the cat does is, as soon as it senses the red color, changes its y by negative 25, which means it will jump down. So let's run the code. There we go. Touches, nothing happens. But once it touches the red dot, it just jumps down. And it's going to stop anyway because we only said repeat 300 times. So from here to here, it's only 300 pixels of distance. So the cat came and stopped there. So that's with touching a sprite or the mouse pointer or edge or sprite 2 or sprite 3. Now we will just go do something. I will say for the cat, this time I will say forever. This is very interesting. I'll just go and say forever. So you keep going forever to right, but how do you know when to come back? That's when we're going to use touching the edge. Okay, now presently the x value is negative 180, as you see. Okay, I'm going to say move 1 step. Okay, keep moving 1 step to right. Here if you go, if, just put an if statement here, if, and go to the sensing and then say if touching the edge, if it's going to touch the edge, we will set the x back to negative 180 and then say set x to negative 180, and I'm going to press enter. Oops, I'll stop all the, I will go press enter. Keeps going, it says touching sprite, and then touches the red dot, comes down, and then continues to go because I said forever. But once it touches the edge, it goes back to its original position. So as soon as it touches there, it goes back to its position here. But what if I wanted the cat to go up? Right. So when you go put it here, this is where the cat started from negative 186, and then set the y to 4 and just go here, set y to 4. It goes, touches, nothing happens. But when it touches the red dot, it goes down and it goes and touches the edge and goes back to its original position again. So this is going to keep continuing throughout. So we've now looked at what happens if it's touching the sprite. If it's touching the sprite, it's giving a message touching sprite 1. If it's touching this sprite, it's giving a message sprite 1 touching the red dot. And if the CAD is touching the red color, it changes its y by -25. And finally, if the CAD is touching the edge, you can set some action here. So we looked at touching the color in these examples here. But what if we're going to have something else? I am going to stop this. I am going to duplicate this sprite. I duplicated this sprite actually. Yeah, now I duplicated the sprite. And let us look at the y for sprite 3. It's -17. And let's look at the, I'll delete this one here. Now I will go in this sprite. Sorry. I'll go actually select it and costumes, and I will pour green color. I will pour in it green color. So now we have a red sprite, which is sprite 3, and sprite 4 is green in color. I will put this one up here and I will put it as -17 for actually x as 19 for the green sprite. So I will say set x to 19. So set x to 19. So it's vertically exactly on the top. I better take this code here. Set x to -19 and set y to 129. Set y to 129. Control, and again I will say forever, and I will change the y by -1. I will say here, go to motion, change y by -1. I will say change y by -1. So it keeps going down slowly, but once it touches the red, once it touches the sprite 3, I'm going to set an action, for which what I would do is I will again go into the control. I will grab an if condition and I'll throw it. Now we're going to look at, our main aim was looking at this operator. So we'll just drag it and put it inside here. If what color is touching what color? If the green color is touching the red color, we would say this will be very interesting. Delete that. Actually, yeah. Say green color, or you can simply say sprite 4 touching the sprite 5. Okay, so let's go. I'll go press enter and let us see what is going to happen. It goes, touches, and look at that. As soon as it touched, so it just stopped for 2 seconds there. It's not going any further. Change Y. But we'll delete that one here, and we will say, because it went into a continuous loop, as when you said first 2 seconds, I'll just say hello. I'll press enter, and it keeps moving, and that's it. So when it